Want to know who the best is? That's him, Iceman.
So I'm getting to the end game here, and I've got the crew kind of almost finished painted, and the ejection seats as well. Haven't really used any washes or anything, just some dry brushing and basic techniques. My painting is not the best, but you know, this will do for what you get. This is just the Tamiya seats. I might put a few badges on them in a while, maybe not. I haven't finished doing the I had to redo these, just hand painted the overhead, the ejection seat handles. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to put a few placards on the ejection seats, because they're a bit naked. So just a few of these placards, just generic ones, just to busy it up a little bit. These are just leftover ones I got from the Tamiya set, just to put on their main heads here and that. And so I'll do that, and I might have a stab at putting Sliders and Iceman's markings on their helmets, their silver helmets. I don't know. We'll just give it a go. So there's the crew and the ejection seats all painted up and just mock fitted inside the cockpit there. I've just put them on there just to see that I did double, triple check before I did this, to make sure that the canopy glass actually fits with their heads underneath, and it does. So that's the next stage. I need to get this damn canopy done. So what I'll do is I'll glue in the, well, at least this forward HUD. I'll get these guys out, because I'm going to have to do a lot of sanding and polishing. If I keep that in camera, that might help. Alright, so I'll just take these ones out, and you'll see what I need to do. Oops. Just have a look at the detail there with those added little extra placards, and I used a little bit of a wash. What did I use? I used a little bit of this game color wash, very diluted, just to add a little bit more definition to the uniforms, and it's okay. I'm pretty happy with that. It's not the best job in the world, but it'll do. Good enough for government work, as we say. So the next thing to do is to get this damn main canopy to fit, and what I'm going to have to do is just, well, we have to fix the scratches and everything, but it's I have tried to get the nose here a little bit tighter, because it spread a bit when I put it onto the thing, and there's still going to be a small gap. So what I'm going to have to do is, when I glue this in, is just squeeze it down a little bit using a little bit of force. But I'm going to have to do some filler. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, I need to get this forward windscreen on first, and so that means I'll spray that little center bit with a bit of clear green, but I need to give this a polish. So it's time to get out the polishing stuff, so let me do that first. So the main canopy has got lots of scratches and well, not scratches, there's a few sort of buff marks, a few little things there that there's no big gouges. There's one or two little scratches in here that should be easy to polish out. So I want to get this all nice and clean first. The front windscreen is actually not too bad. I'm just having a quick look. I mean, it's slightly distorted. It's an old casting. That one's actually fairly clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my old I'll use the tried and true Tamiya method using these pastes. So I'll just polish them up first, and then I haven't used these before. This is the Proxon. I've got my Proxon here, and we'll give it a final buff at the ends. So I've polished the front one. It's looking quite nice now. I found, of course, that one of my which one was it? The fine Tamiya compound stuff has actually dried out. I've only got a little bit of this finish and coarse left, and the Proxon stuff's all dried off. So anyway, that's just using the finish polishing compound and using the Proxon buffing wheel. And what I've done on the main canopy, so I can show you this. So I've rubbed in the coarse. So if we just go high speed now. I can see that it's getting rid of some of those scratches. Hopefully it gets rid of most of them. So I'll do this pass, and then I'll do, technically I should use the fine next, but I don't have any, so I'll do the finish a couple of times and see if I get a nice shiny canopy. If there's a few scratches, that's okay. That's my philosophy with this build so far, doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. Even though I do intend to put this into a competition, I don't intend to do it to win a medal. just to show an F-14. Alright, so that's all done. So I'll chuck some finishing compound on. Let's do it live. So I'll just apply some of this to the canopy. And I've got a polishing cloth here just to spread it in. Shivers. Now there's probably some of you out there saying, oh, you can dip it in future, whatever. It's like, nah, I prefer not to. Future is unreliable in my opinion. Anyway, let's see how we go with this. That's too fast. I'm literally getting it all over my face. There we go. So we're getting that nicely rubbed in. Job done. That's fairly good. There's one little blemish in there that I can't get rid of, but that's good enough. And so yeah, let's move ahead, and I need to actually paint this little piece here. I had a few ejection pin marks, so I'll just paint this in black, glue it in, and then start to get this. I need to make some modifications to the back, add a little bit of extra material there I think, so I just need to do a bit more fettling, but yeah, pretty happy with that. That's why I prefer to use this instead of using Future. I literally did that in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's all done. So I'm going to spray the inside of the F-14 windshield with a little bit of this green clear from Tamiya, thinned with the Mr. Leveling Thinner, or Unicorn Tears as it's called. So let me just get the airbrush ready. So there it is, just a slight green tint, as you can see there on the windscreen. If I pop it on over the HUD, you get a sort of effect. So I'll glue this on now, let it go off, and then I can start to fit this damn canopy at the back. With the windscreen tacked in place there, I haven't glued it in just yet, but I've just taped down the canopy, and you can see where I'm going to have some problems. This is the best fit I can do. I've done a bit of sanding. I don't want to remove too much material. Had to remove some here at the back and a little bit here on the lip. So you can see I'm going to have a small lip here, although I can read it between the windscreen and the canopy itself when you look front on. Whoop, get in camera, Chris. This thing's so bloody big. Okay, can you see there's a small lip there? I'm just double checking. Yep, there's a small lip. I can sort of, with a bit of adjustment, get rid of it, but that's okay. That's the smallest problem. So there's a sizable gap there on the sill. It's just not wide enough. So I could squeeze it, but I'm really reluctant to squeeze that open. So I'm going to have to do a bit of filling in there. What I might do is add a bit of plastic to the canopy itself. I'm going to have to do it anyway, so let's do it. So the major gap here is something I've been harping on about in lots of videos. There is a big gap there. Can you see that? So I'll have to add a triangle of plastic to that. That's fitting okay to the spine, so I'll add some plastic there. I'll add some plastic underneath there, because this is all metal material, it's not clear parts. If I just spin this around, see if I can get this side in camera. So this side we're not doing too bad. There is going to be a little gap here, which I hope I can fill with, again, I might put a little bit of plastic on the windscreen before I tack it down, so that's why I didn't glue it in just yet. I think, yeah, there's going to be a gap there, so just a little bit of sheet styrene, feather that in, smooth it over, and there's going to be another gap here at the back. Gappity gap. I joked with Bruce Worrell, the chap who does all those great t-shirts that I wear, that he said, oh, you should get a t-shirt made, Chris. It should say, I survived the Revell F-14. Oh, maybe it's surviving me with my shoddy modelling skills. Anyway, let's get some plastic down on those parts, and I'll show you how I modify the canopy. Well, after what feels like hours to me, but it's actually an overnight thing, and then probably an hour this morning, I've put a little bit of plastic card on the edge of the windscreen just to fill up that little gap, and that's working well. The main effort, of course, is in this bloody thing. I had to put a piece there, and then another piece underneath here, because then and then two pieces along this sill to make it wider so it actually can fit. I'll see if I can get it in camera later. If not, I'll wait till I do the putty stage. And then I realised there was a gap underneath this sill as well. I almost put some plastic card, some evergreen on here, but I thought, no, I'll leave this alone. I'll add it to here. So I've added it to the bottom of the canopy, and I'm just sanding that all, fairing that all in, so the bulk of the sanding is done. And then I realised there's a small gap underneath here. Oh, do I keep going? How far do you go? So I will add a little bit more of, I don't know what, I might just put a little 0.2 bit of plastic there. But it's time to start sanding this all in, getting it primed, getting it bloody masked and getting it on the thing so we can finish up. It's, you know, perfect is the enemy of good enough. I just want to get good enough so that there's, you know, there might be a small, not a gap, but, you know, obvious that it's not a perfect fit, or it is, it's a big panel line. Let's call it a big panel line in there, because, yeah, I just really want to get this finished and get moving on. Good enough. Okay, so the canopy is done. I've actually masked the inside and the outside. I've painted the inside. I've put that little insert in. This took a few times to get right. It's, blending in that extra plastic that I've put down that sill and making sure that's right. I still have a little bit of a tiny hole there, which I've just realised I can touch that up with a little bit of Mr. Surfacer. So I've got the front windscreen is on, and it may need a little bit more blending, yes, even more sanding and filling. Yes, I have the patience of a saint, someone said once. No, not really, just need to get it done. The crew and instrument panels have all been super glued in, and so it's time to put this canopy on, and it's time to prime this fellow. Get in there, let's see if I can get him to fit. It's early in the morning here. Oh, come on. Does he fit? Yes, kind of. Okay. No, it's not fitting. Why isn't it fitting? Let's try that again. Something's going wrong. Always happens. But there we go. Just have to press it in. Okay, so there we go. So there's going to be a small gap. I can live with that, that's fine. Oh, and as you notice, I've put the TCS pod on, and I've put the, this thing, what do you call it? The, like I said, it's early in the morning, I can't think straight, the tow hook, it's on. So it's basically all ready for primer. I'm just going to glue in that canopy. I didn't want to do it straight away because I've super glued that in. I want the super glue to go off overnight. I did that last night. So that'll go in, and I'll just do a little bit more blending and whatever, or maybe I'll just wash the whole thing, it's covered in dust, and prime it up, and that'll be the end of this section, and we can start getting into some painting. Huzzah! So yeah, thanks for watching.